Welcome to podcast number 209. Jason's voice has gone from yelling at boot camp, so we are going to play some vintage podcasts from when he first started podcasts back at DPR. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. So today is not a cheap substitute. The content here is supposed to be super good. Jason told me to say that. And we actually included two for you so you get to the normal time length. I'll introduce each one as they begin. Enjoy. All right, so the first one is with Brent Elliott, and it is called Empathy.
Hey, everybody. For this morning's podcast, we got Brent Elliott, the man, the infamous. We're going to talk today about a key topic that he feels makes him successful, and it deals with empathy and how to treat people. So, Brent, we were talking about this just a minute ago. What are your, just give us some high-level thoughts on empathy and how you like to implement that in the field?
This will probably be the most boring interview ever, but I'll give it a shot. We deal more and more with people. That's really part of what we do, and I think being empathetic and understanding people and how they react and what their needs are really helps you out and gives you an advantage. As a construction company and as a superintendent.
Okay. So how do you implement that in the field? A thought that let me start it off by saying, when you were first telling me about empathy and how you implement it on the job site, sometimes I go out there like full steam saying, hey, this is what we're doing, just go in like a bull in a china shop. And, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? And it seems like your approach is tailored to the individual. So how do you actually implement that in the field? Like, how do you go about your day?
Well, you have to do that to an extent, right? You have to lay down the law and you have rules, you have ground rules you have to go by. But I think beyond that, when it comes to the individuals, you have to understand how they react. Because everybody's different. I can't approach two guys the same way and get the same result. I think, it starts out, especially in the beginning, is getting to know your guys, early on in the job, coming on, having the meetings early on with schedule, really getting to know the foreman, and how they are and how different they are and how they operate best, and really figuring out how you're going to maximize them on the job site. And then, once you get into the project, you've got, additional people, lots more people on some projects, and people actually working out in the field. You can't touch everybody. But I think, being out there on the ground, walking the job and understanding the guys, I think is huge. And they want to work with you, and they want to work for you, and they want to do a good job. I think if you're out there, really forcing it on them, people just don't like that nowadays. It's just not a good outcome.
It's just not how we are as a society, is it? And you were talking about maximizing their potential. So, when you have empathy, and you were also talking earlier about how even though once you know a person, you'll try and read them every day. Like if they come into work pissed off, or like you can tell they're sad because you're watching, or they might be happy, or there might be something wrong with them, right? And then you tailor the message to that day. But I guess the empathy that you're talking about, getting to know them, treating them the way they want to be treated. But if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that it maximizes their potential because then they're going to give you their best. Is that right? Am I hearing that right?
I don't like anybody to have a bad day, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that, you're exactly right. On a daily basis, I read people and I see kind of what their mood is. And I think I react based off of that, not how I feel, but how they feel.
Okay. And just a little anecdotal story here is the same thing happened with Jake Smiley at BSRL that happened with you. people, I'm the first desk in line, and people would come in and say, "Hi, Jason, where's Brent? Where's Jay?" And I think it's because of those one-on-one relationships and the way that you treat people and you empathize with their situation. You try and maximize their potential. So for the people listening to the podcast, I think I understand that the message is that you need to tailor your communication to the individual. You need to empathize and care about folks, try and help them to have a good day, maximize their potential. But for the folks listening, what's one or two actionable things that you do that other folks could do to start this behavior and I guess maybe be more aware of folks and how they're feeling and how they like to be treated? So just thoughts. What like some actionable steps? I can edit this too. Don't even worry. Like, what do you do? I mean, it's a simple question. What do you do? Like when you come up to a foreman, is it listening first? Is it asking them certain questions? Is it just trying to read their expressions? What is it?
I think I started off, wherever I talk to somebody, it's like, how you doing? Just get a feel for how they're doing today. Right. I don't usually come at people,
Like I need this.
The band. Yeah.
Okay.
And first of all, it's hey, how you doing today? Right. I mean,
Okay.
That's just the right thing to do.
Real quick, not to interrupt you, but I think that says a lot when we're so busy to say, how you doing? Then it's like, okay. And obviously,
Right.
Brent, you're busy. Thanks for asking, Okay,
Right.
go ahead.
And second of all, you've actually got to care about the people that are out there on the site, whether or not they care about you or not. I mean, ultimately, you're responsible for everybody out on the site. And they look up to you. And their mood and their actions is based off of your mood and your actions a lot of the times.
And how you respond. And so what I'm hearing kind of a theme is, and I've been guilty of this in the past, like I'll go up to an area of the building and say, yeah, today I'm building this part of the building. And so any person I talk to or coordination that happens or meeting that happens is a tool for me to go build that area. But you look at everything that day and say, I'm not just going to build that area or that wall or whatever, but I'm going to build that person. So you might eventually get over to the wall or get over to the column or get over to what you're building, but you're going to stop for just a brief moment, build that individual and help him or her help you build the wall, build that portion of the building. And I think, that's what I'm learning from this. And I think that's a really neat point.
Right.
So so those are actionable steps is to basically ask how somebody's doing, try and lift them up, elevate, enhance their life, build them, because one of our mottos is who we build is important as what we build, right? And then go at it and attack the rest of the items for the day as a team. Any closing thoughts as we close this out?
No, I'd just say we're dealing with people, we're dealing with people, and the end goal is great. But if we tear people down and don't treat them like people, reaching that goal, then, what does that mean at the end of the day?
Yeah, I like that. You don't build much with a jackhammer. All you can do is tear stuff down. So same thing with people. If we don't stop and get to know them a little bit, we can't do much more than just tear them down or use them. We have to add value.
Right. And what does that do to us for the next job?
Yep.
We use a lot of these subs. We use them over and over on different jobs, and they, it may not be you, but it may be somebody else, and their experience they have on one DPR project is going to be what they expect on the next.
Yeah, I like that. And we build great things. So thanks, Brent. I appreciate you. And that was not boring. That was fantastic. I should work for CNN. I'm doing a good job with these interviews. I'm just kidding. See you guys. See you all tomorrow.
This second one is with Jake Smiley, and they called it Make Real Connect.
Hey, everybody. Today for our little superintendent hotspot where I interview superintendents for the things that have made them successful for, ideas, philosophies, concepts, habits, whatever. Today we're talking to Jake Smiley, and I think what you and I decided on before we started the recording was building relationships and connecting with people. Did I get that right, or how would you say it, JJ?
Yeah, connecting with the
guys. All right, so let's just go ahead and start out. So what do you do, and what makes you successful with it? And then we'll just take a couple minutes here.
So I think, we're talking about strengths. So this is one of my strengths. Not everyone's going to be able to do this as good as I can. Just like there's other things that people are going to do better than me. But I have always just naturally been able to find a common ground, something, and a lot of times it's not construction related. It's I like to find out questions to find out. A lot of times I start by asking the guys about, and this goes on with any regular worker to foreman to whatever we're trying to do, inspectors to whatever. One of, I guess, the main thing to do is listen.
Okay.
Shut your mouth and listen.
So when you meet a new person, I'm sure you do it naturally,
Everyone wants to talk about themselves.
but you just stop and listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then poke and prod and ask a few other questions. You got to ask some questions like, hey, so you said this, you're in, and usually it's, you get them talking about what hobbies they're into, get them talking about their kids, their family, their wife, what they did over the weekend. And you just have to, once they start talking, you just have to shut your mouth and listen to what they say
And build on it.
and build on it. And pretty soon, with my life experiences, not that I have any more than everybody else, but I've been able to say, oh yeah, like I may not be like a professional at this, but I did ride a motorcycle for a while, and you find that common thing that you can talk about, and you're like, oh wow, yeah, we have something in common, and it breaks that ice to where oh man, yeah, and a lot of times you don't talk about it after that. You don't sit there and bring up dirt biking, for example, every day, every time you go and talk, but it's something cool that you have in common to talk about. Most of the time you're talking about work and problems and issues and opportunities to try and fix things and get better, but it's that commonality, that common ground between people and that building a relationship. And it just, I don't know, it's like little seeds of trust.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
So I was actually, because you and I didn't prep for this. This is honestly just, we're winging it. I'm interviewing you right now, but I was thinking, like, why would getting to know them be a big deal? So that I like the seeds of trust, but you're starting out by saying, I care about you. If I had to put myself in like an inspector or subcontractor, foreman worker's position, they're probably waiting for you to just not listen and just start telling them what's up, which makes them feel unsafe in the situation, right? But when if I was in their position, I came up to you, Jake, and you're interested in me, what I think, what I've got going on, automatically I do feel safe, connected, and I trust you that when I do bring up a commitment, instead of it being an argument or a contentious environment or interaction, you're probably going to handle that just like you did the introduction, right? So I can see how it would work.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it comes natural. I don't know if you have any advice for the rest of us who it doesn't come natural. I guess listen is a practical step, right?
Very practical.
And then try and build on what they're saying was another thing I heard you say.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And the thing is so I'm a people lover. That's a big thing. Some people are just, and it's nothing against any people. Some people aren't social, don't want to be social, and don't really want to get to know a whole bunch of people. But I'm the polar opposite, and I really enjoy being around and learning from people and learning about them. And maybe that's why this is easier for me. I know some people struggle with it.
I know that I'm extroverted, but I struggle to meet new people. So I think I could really, when I get in that situation, I'm like, oh, what do I do? Let me think of something. I got to talk. For me, the listen, shut up my own mind, be quiet, blank slate, listen is probably a big key for me. So I appreciate that. Where was I going to go next? Oh, so you were talking about that you're good at it, but like in one sentence, whatever, just really briefly, why do you do it ultimately? What is your motivation to reach out to people? Like, what's your mental mission? Because there's
So let me answer that. So at first, I want to say I don't really have like it's not really like a mission or an agenda.
Okay.
For me, it's like I said before, I do this naturally. Sometimes maybe it's a nervous. I don't know. Maybe it's a nervous thing. I don't know. I just have always been able to walk up to someone, say hello, find that common ground, and bam, and connect.
But it sounds like it might be just because you truly love people, and that's your root motivation.
So yes, so I do. I really enjoy people as a whole. There's always that 10% out there that I'm just, and it's funny because that actually bothers me inside, just how I'm
Where they don't connect?
how I'm like, oh my gosh, if it's almost becomes a challenge, and it drives me crazy if I can't, like, so say every person is like a bomb, and you're the whole my whole or a clock, and my whole I don't know, goal or whatever is to see them, to see what makes them tick, and to dissect that. And sometimes there's that 10% that I can't diffuse or see what's making all the gears go. And it drives me crazy.
Bomb goes off.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
So real quick, so your motivation is that you like making connections with people. Aside from that, not as our primary focus, but secondarily, what benefits have you seen from this? Like with the subs, with the inspectors, with owners, with your relationships? Not why you do it. So let's just say why you do it is to like bless mankind, right? And improve humanity. So let's ancillary to that, secondarily, what benefits have you seen from doing that in your role, building those relationships?
So take it one step further, building relationships, trust. I know we hear that in the industry. There's probably a lot of books that talk about that and all that stuff, but it's very true. And I feel that a lot of times I make these connections, and it allows me to communicate with the guys better. Not meaning it. Some people will just kind of look by and not say anything when someone's not being safe, or when there's a deficiency in the work, but it's not their scope of work. And I feel that I get told about a lot of things, and maybe everyone else feels the same way, but I feel it's because I've made this connection and built this relationship with these
better
people.
Communication.
Yes.
Lots of communication.
But it gets them to communicate more.
Okay.
Than if I didn't. Because until I have made those connections with those people, it doesn't always happen like right off. I mean, I've got to work on some of these things and to find out. But sometimes it's easier than one person will be easier than another. Like to find that and get that jive or that that smooth connection. But it
improves communication. And one thing I've seen is that at BSRL where we worked together, I was an inspector, owner, or somebody would come to my desk. Hey, Jason, where's Jake? And I'm like, okay, hi. And I think it was because you really did have those. You built those relationships, and I think that went a long way to build trust and to connect us with our owner. So. Any closing words? Yeah, I mean, one thing that we typically do is say just to close, what for people listening to this, something that they shouldn't do, which I think you've partly answered, which is don't go into a conversation and start talking and not listen, right? That might be a good one. But is there anything you want to close out and say?
When you're hunting for commonalities, don't reach. Make sure people don't, people don't like it when you're reach too far.
When you're
meaning
fake, right?
When you're being fake, you need to still be sincere. So some people you're not going to be able to connect with right off, because you're going to have, like I said, you're going to have to dig around and find that actually real solid connective piece.
Okay.
Because you can't just say, oh well, I have kids. Everyone has kids, but does, for example,
Like if they say underwater
Okay,
basket weaving.
yeah, well, exactly. So I wouldn't have anything to do with that. But my girls are playing softball right now, a couple of them. And the other day I got talking to a guy, and I'd been listening, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, my daughter is on a softball team to someone else." I just heard, just kind of in passing. So I was like, "Hey man, I heard the other day that you were talking about, your daughter plays softball. How old is she?" And started asking questions, and found out that she's in high school and colleges are looking at her. And so I got talking to him and said, "Hey, my little girls that are 7 and 8 are playing ball. And can you give me some pointers?" And I took some and asked him his opinion. And now, like, his girl last night actually was playing at we had practice at the same sporting complex that his daughter had a ball game. He came and found me, and we actually were talking about, he was watching one of my girls throw the ball, and he was like, "Hey, so have you been working with her on this and this and this, what I told you to?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "I can really tell because she's doing it this way."
That's very cool.
And it was
So it
just
was
really
real.
cool. Yeah, it was real. And I've had a lot of experiences over and over and over again.
So in closing, if I said your advice to people is to make real and lasting connections in your role, whether it be subcontractors, workers, inspectors, owners, whatever, that's maybe it's at least one of your keys to being a successful superintendent, field ops guy. And did I get that right?
Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it. Yep.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.